Good morning and welcome to another podcast of Leaf Organics on the Health Hub. Today we have the wonderful Lee from Leen Newtrition. Lee, thank you very much for coming on. Would you please introduce yourself and what you do?
Thanks, Michelle. So I'm Lee from Leen Newtrition. It's a bad play on my full name. It chucks me in everyone's spam boxes because it looks like I can't spell, but I promise you I can spell. So I run a online nutrition business that's mainly focused around bettering yourself through nutrition. It's helping you live a leaner lifestyle. So making things super simple, making sure that you're getting results without overcomplicating things with everything that's out there on the internet, and ultimately become fitter, stronger, healthier and happier.
I mean, I think that's part of the way, isn't it? I know we met at a CrossFit comp and you were interested in what I did and I'm interested in what you do, because I've always said it's got to start at grassroots level, hasn't it? It's you can't do anything until those foundations are in place, and there's so many quick fixes on the market, and unfortunately sometimes it's not a quick fix. It's looking at the whole of the lifestyle and then implementing it that way up, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's so funny how everyone in a way neglects the simple things like nutrition, like activity, like sleep, like drinking water, like the very simple things. Quite often we look for that magic bullet that seems like that's the thing that we need, but it's the grassroots stuff that you need mainly, definitely.
Yeah. So if I'm a client and was coming to you and is it people who are athletes or is it just your average Joe? What's your kind of clientele? Who are people that come to you?
So I work with a few top athletes, which is great fun, but my bread and butter really is your just average person that wants to feel more confident in themselves, maybe lose a bit of weight, build a bit of muscle. Usually it's people that are just new into fitness. So although I'm into CrossFit myself, you don't have to be into CrossFit to be part of Team Leen. It's just people that want to get into some fitness, but get themselves healthier and happier. The main people that I do work with are both men and women, but aged between 25 to 40. So people that are settled, have like a steady career maybe. I work with a lot of shift workers actually, because they seem to be people that struggle a little bit. And yeah, just people that are looking to get rid of all the cloudiness around what you find on the internet when you Google how can I be healthy and nothing comes up. Or
and here, take this packet mix, we'll charge you £4 million for it, and actually there's no nutritional benefit whatsoever. We've had a bit of a rant before now about all the rubbish is out there, and I know lots of ladies of my age. I'm a little bit older than, I think I'm the top end of that category, not just out of it, but there's a lot of ladies my age who have picked up bad habits. They've yo-yo dieted, they've tried every diet under the sun, but some of the basics that you could implement really quickly, we don't seem to, because they haven't got that knowledge base there. And then you go on the internet and you throw whatever the latest, I mean, I have a supplement business, but it's not there for weight loss. Mine is it's part of the journey of health. And this is the kind of clients I have that they come to me when they're almost at crisis point, but actually they need to put all the ducks in the row and then add the supplements in. And I suppose you're helping them getting the ducks in the row, aren't you really?
Yeah. I work off like a pyramid basis, in that you see a lot of diagrams that are based on this, but one of the main things at the bottom is just that you enjoy something and something that you can stick with, and then on top of that you're looking at like your nutrition, your activity, and then as you get further and further up the pyramid, you get towards like the supplement ends and stuff. But that doesn't necessarily mean that supplements aren't something that you can use, because you can't use a blunt spear. So at the tip of the spear is the supplement side of things. You're making it sharp, ready to go.
Absolutely.
So it's super important.
I've always said that it's almost like you need to treat your body in I have like a triangle, but in a different way in my head. I have like sort of 3 prongs to it. So it's like what you do with your body, what you put in it, and how you work your mind. It's kind of, it's so important. I mean, if people treated food like medicine, I don't think we would have half the problems, if that makes sense. And it's too easy these days. You know how it is. It's too easy to rip and ding something and stick it in the microwave, and you actually don't know the content. I've been brought up in a very old-fashioned way. I cook like my grandma did, everything from scratch. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy a cheeseburger and a pint of wine on the odd Saturday, but on the whole, my food's pretty well balanced. I still have, a chocolate biscuit and whatnot, but it's and I think there's a whole generation of people that can't cook or don't even know where to begin with the food. We all stay up too late. It's about, I'm an advocate for sleep, putting not 8 hours of actual sleep, but sleep opportunity. It's almost like a badge of honor. Oh, I can live on 3 hours sleep. Brilliant. But you're going to drop dead in 5 years when you carry on like that. It's all this kind of re-education, isn't it? And I think that's where I really enjoyed when we chatted. It's you're educating your clients, really.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, just a bit of a caveat to that as well. People get so caught up in that they've got to have super like clean foods, or they can't have a cheeseburger or a biscuit and stuff. And once you realize that you can't really go wrong so long as you're doing the typical things of in moderation and you've got a little bit of knowledge behind your choices, there's nothing wrong with someone that let's say someone's living off takeaways. If they were to go from takeaways to microwave meals, that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, a healthy choice microwave meal. Yeah, because I must say there's some really good, what I call pre-done food out there at the moment. I mean, we've just switched to a particular brand, and it's great. It's literally, it's a good quality. So if I'm really, really tired, it's a frozen meal that I put in the oven, and I go, great, I know there's a nutritional, but it's choosing the right type of frozen meal to put in the oven, isn't it? Because we all work long hours, we're all busy. We haven't got time, and some days, quite frankly, I've had a busy day, I've trained, and I go, I can't be bothered cooking today and chopping veg.
Exactly.
So I think you're quite right, it's making those choices of, actually, instead of the takeaway, what thing can I buy instead? So when they do the weekly shop, or whenever they go shopping, they're making a more valued choice, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. And there's nothing that's off limits, really. You can have absolutely anything, but it's the difference between knowing that your week looks like maybe 4 or 5 days where you're cooking a meal or you've got something in ready to go, and then at weekend you may be having the treat that you want, whether it's a takeaway or your ice cream, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or just some sort of mindfulness around your choices, because we all live such busy lives and there's so much convenience out there. A price point affects it, how busy you are, whether you've got a family, what your job role is, whether you've got facilities to cook. There's so many factors that come into it, and quite often than not, the convenience option is the one you go for.
Absolutely.
But understanding how you can get that into your diet and how you can make that work for you is one of the most important things.
And I suppose that's where your coaching comes in, is that you will, I assume you look at the person and their lifestyle, and everybody's plan, I assume, is completely different to the next person as well.
Yeah, well, so a lot of people, as soon as they start working with my first step, which people don't believe in, they feel like it's a little bit of a trick, but I just tell them to eat absolutely whatever they want and just track it for me. Just give me some sort of food diary, whether that's a picture diary, whether that's using an app, whether that's using an old school pen and paper, that's perfectly fine. And if the person isn't quite bought into it, I get a diary back that says that they've had porridge for the breakfast. They've
3 meals a day.
Chicken salad. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
But what I really want to see is that you've had a glass of wine at night, or you've had some biscuits at work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's the person I can help, the true person. Because if you're presenting to me as this person that's doing really, really well, and you are eating those healthy choices throughout the day, well, where can I come in? It sounds like you're doing really, really well. I want to see the real Michelle that tells me that she does enjoy a glass of wine or whatever it is, and
it's the
then we can make
biscuits. It is the biscuits at night. It's the cup of tea. I go, right, I have my evening meal, which is a home cooked meal. So my downfall is a chocolate biscuit and a cupcake, and I literally go, just have that. I'll have 4 biscuits. Well, I'll go back for another 4, and I've just had another 4 before I know it, the whole packet's gone.
It is,
chocolate round my face like that lad from the Goonies, you know.
Yes. It's a good job they don't make packets of biscuits bigger, really, because you eat a lot.
But you buy a double packet.
Loopholes.
See, this is me being raw and honest. I mean, it's like people look at me and go, yeah, because I'm on the thinner side of life, but I train really, really hard, and I know I need to put nutrients in my body. But there are some days where I go, look, I don't want that banana. I know I should be eating the banana. I actually want the dirty chocolate biscuits that sat on the side. But I also know the consequence of what will come with that if I train on a dirty chocolate biscuit and not something nutritional, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And also like that opinion there of like the dirty chocolate biscuit. Interestingly, a really good thing to do is if you go onto Google and type in what is healthy or what is healthy food, Google can't give you an answer because there's no such thing. There's no such thing. It's so subjective. What's healthy for one person might not be healthy for another person. And I was at a a training conference where a load of like health professionals got together, and I bought a bottle of full fat Coke.
Yeah,
Full
perfect.
sugar Coke. And I sat down next to someone, and someone went, "You have a nutrition business, don't you?" I said, "How are you eating? Are you drinking the full fat version of Coke? Why haven't you got a diet?" And then it surprised me that that person fully believed that they couldn't have that, which so many people do. And this is a health professional.
So it's interesting because in my house, I have a rule of no diet, no fake sugars in my house, because I have a thing that sugar isn't the devil, it's the quantities that some people have it in. And actually, like after I've had a race, the first thing I go for is a packet of crisps, just plain crisps with salt in because I need the salt, and a full fat can of Coke. I call it full fat because my body is craving the sugar. In the morning, I have a nutritional breakfast, which is porridge, oats, bananas, blueberries, whey powder. I do my workout. Then I come back and have white bread, a toast with butter and jam on, because I need the sugars. But for somebody else who's maybe wanting to lose weight, that is the wrong thing to do. I was speaking to a coach who, a gut health specialist who helps Crohn's people. They actually have Crohn's themselves. Big shout out to all my friends at Eggs. He's a great guy. And I didn't realize blueberries, the skin on blueberries for Crohn's patients is a complete no-no. Whereas for me, blueberries are really nutritional. We're told blueberries are really good for you, but that was a little snippet that I learned. I was like, so you're quite right. One man's meat is another man's poison, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. What is healthy? Exactly.
Yeah.
And even there with like the diet side of things, if you've got, I've got a delivery.
Do you want to go and get it?
No, it's okay. My beautiful girlfriend will get it for me.
Oh, that's nice.
If people are having the full fat version, but their goal is to train hard or have another training session later on, that's perfectly fine. If your goal is to lose weight, but you're caught up on artificial sweeteners and things, you might steer away from Diet Coke and you might go for the full fat version. But the Diet Coke might be absolutely perfect for you because it gives you that sweetness, gets rid of that craving, but then there's 0 calories in it. So for that person, that's healthier than it is for another person. Yeah.
So that's why the personal element comes in, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as well as nutrition and things like that, sleep, because I'm a massive sleep ambassador. I think sleep is sometimes even more important than nutrition. What's your view on sleep? I assume that's something that you do with your clients as well.
Yes. Yeah. Sleep is the performance enhancing drug that none of us use. It's something that's free. It's something that's easy to do. But when you've had a busy long day and you come home, the last thing you want to do is think, I'll go sleep in an hour. You want to sit up and you want to watch Netflix, or you want to be on your phone, whatever it is.
You want to have a treat. You want to wind down from the day.
Yeah, that's your thing. And it's a fallacy. I can't remember the name of it now, but there's a fallacy that's about that you spend more time at the end of your day and deter away from going to sleep, which actually puts you in a worse mood the next day, less energy levels, you're less productive, which then just spirals and compounds and you get worse and worse and you end up spending more and more time. Because as soon as you go to sleep, the next work day starts and you don't want that. You want the time for yourself. So I am a big advocate of it, but in practicalities, a lot of people really struggle with it. It's something that you have to be quite disciplined with, because if we all used it as we should do, we'd all live much better lives. Definitely.
I've done loads of research on sleep because it was one of my things that kicked off my mental health problems. Mine coincided with the birth of my son and lack of sleep, should we say. Plus there was a whole host of other things, but I know fundamentally that I was living on 2 and 3 hours sleep a night, and it was very much broken sleep because he was a poorly little boy, and it completely changed my brain. It changed everything about me, and I now treat sleep, I guard it with my life. My boys know 10 o'clock, if you want to stay up playing on your game or whatever, I'm still very strict about those, but they have to clean the teeth because I need silence in the house. And I give myself from 10 till 7, I give myself this massive amount of sleep opportunity because and even in the afternoon, I will take an afternoon nap. And when I say an afternoon nap, I mean an hour and a half, a full sleep cycle, because I think that can be so beneficial. If your body needs that sleep, if you're training or you've had a busy day, and everybody's amount of sleep is different. And they've proven that's when all your chemicals take place, where we know if you don't get enough sleep, your body doesn't recover. You make poor food choices the next day, which then compounds into everything about it. I am a massive sleep ambassador. And the kids always hate it because if they say to me, "I'm not well," I'll go, guess what you're going to be told to do? Have some water, go to bed and sleep it off.
Yeah. Have you drank enough? Have you slept enough? Yeah.
And
Have you heard of Matthew Walker?
Yes, that's what kicked off my obsession with sleep, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So funnily enough, I listened to him on Joe Rogan's podcast, which got me like talking about it and thinking a bit more about it. I downloaded his Audible, Why We Sleep, which is great because it sends me straight to sleep.
Oh my God, if you mention sleep 45 times a I'm going to sleep, it's like the best book ever for making you want to sleep, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, definitely. But and I think as well, if you're just someone that just wants to learn a little bit more about sleep, it's a great, easily digestible audible book to listen to. Or even the podcast with Joe Rogan, there's a bit of humor in there and stuff, and you get to realize that there's so many different benefits to it and things. I was convinced by it at the end. I was like, right, this does make a lot of sense. This is why we sleep, which is what the book's called. It does make a lot of sense.
I always look at my dog. I think everybody needs to be more Dexter. If we all lived a life like Dexter, we'd all be dead happy. So when Dexter's tired, he goes and has a sleep. When Dexter's hungry, Dexter goes and eats. And if he has the opportunity to go for a walk or have something fun, he's like, yeah, let's go. We don't go, oh, I can't do that. I've got this responsibility. I've got to go and do the washing and ironing on the books. Yeah, let's go for a walk. Oh, let's go. And then he comes back and goes, all right, I'll have something to eat and have a kip. If we all listen to or learn to listen, I think we've lost the art of listening to our bodies. And you know, I know that life isn't as simple as being a dog, but you know, even down to the analogy of we look after our pets, we do better than ourselves. If you go to the vets and the vet says you need to give your dog a tablet 3 times a day, we will absolutely make sure that that dog has his tablet 3 times a day and does whatever the vet tells us. We go to the doctors and the doctor says, take this tablet 3 times a day, you must rest, you must have a week in bed. What do? Oh, I forgot my 3rd tablet, falls to it, I'm off out, I'm going, you know, I'm not eating correctly. Even what's the first thing when you do if you're acutely unwell when you go in hospital, they hydrate you and tell you to rest. There's got to be some, you know, if you're not well, hydrate, rest, sleep, you know, put good nutrition in, and it all leads back to what you're coaching your clients with.
Treating yourself like the person that you would care for. That's one of Jordan Peterson's rule for life. Like treat yourself like a person that you care for. It's if you want to run like a books. Yes, exactly, It's,
so be more Dexter.
As well.
Be more
dog.
Be more Dexter. So on the other side of it, water. So we've obviously done nutrition, we've done sleep, water, or fluid, because I know some people say I just don't like drinking water. So what's your thoughts on? Because I know we know water's the best, but I know if we have diuretics like tea and coffee, but what about juices and stuff? What's your thoughts on that?
So a lot of my clients are looking for fat loss. So we often go for things like low calorie cordials, just plain water. Sometimes if people have whole milk or super sugary coffees, we'll go for going towards your black coffee or coffee with skim milk, stuff like that. But when it comes to hydrating, a lot of people get really caught up in the specifics of it, and it's just you need to start drinking more. If you're having maybe a litre, have a little bit more. Don't get caught up in how much that has to be. Just be consciously trying to drink more. My girlfriend has some kidney issues, so I'm constantly banging on about drinking more and more water. It's any sort of ailment, it's like, have you drank enough, which we've just spoke about. But
drink some more water, go to sleep.
Exactly, it's it always comes back to the root stuff that we were talking about. It's the elixir of life water. You just need to have more of it, essentially. And we can get caught up in the specifics of how much you lose during training, when you sweat so much, or the different temperatures outside, and if you have a diuretic and you dehydrate yourself more and you need to consume so much of your body weight. But just for the general person, if you can aim for maybe 4 bottles of water a day, one with your breakfast, one at lunch, one at tea, and then bits here and there as you go along, then you're pretty much covering yourself pretty well. If you're doing that, have some more.
Well, and it's interesting because we all know that just on a performance level, when I'm talking at sports, if your dehydration drops, your performance drops off the edge of a cliff. Like with sleep, if you don't get enough sleep, your performance drops off. So even just the average Joe, drinking more water will make the brain work better. So they're more, the better at work, the more alert. So therefore, they're going to sleep better because the body's not fighting all the time. So no, I think drinking liquid, and I always say liquid, not water, because some people go, don't like water. You know,
Yeah.
if you get that fluid in you, it's always a good thing, isn't it? So
dehydration is the biggest cause in decreased performance. So you can actually perform better on low energy than you can low hydration. So it's super important in performance side of things.
Somewhere, because I know you can do these fasted exercises, which I wouldn't do that, but is it something like your liver stores something like 2,500 calories, so that's why you're still able to perform when there's no fuel in the tank, for want of a better word? But if your hydration's out, you're snookered, aren't you?
Yeah, well, so you have energy stores all over your body, and quite likely if you're doing something fasted, you're still running on last night's tea.
Yeah.
And you've got all the energy stores that you're going from. Fasted is very much like a personal preference thing, definitely.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I like
well,
food.
why would you want to do that? Food's too tasty.
I like food. Yeah, life shouldn't be purgatory, should it, to be at the end of the day? So,
exactly. Yeah.
So that kind of leads us on to supplements, and obviously with what I do, because it's, you know, you've got getting all those ducks in a row, and I believe that too many people waste an awful lot of money on supplements, whether they don't need them, rubbish supplements, and it's choosing, to me, the right supplement for you, and the right quality. And the problem is this: everybody goes to the high street, and there's so much dross in the high street, and then people are taking too much, too little. They're buying basically chalk instead of a quality product. What's your take on supplements and your experience in that industry as well?
So a supplement should be exactly what it says. Like, it should supplement an already working regime, whatever that is. A supplement shouldn't be the answer. If it is the answer, you're papering over cracks. It's not. Yeah. It's not something that you want.
Popping a sticking plaster on it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it needs to be something that works with what you're already doing.
Yeah.
They can definitely make things easier. They can be the polish. They could be the tip of the spear, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
Quite often than not, the first supplement that everyone thinks of is protein shakes. I quite often say that it's not necessarily a supplement that people see it as. It should be an aid in your diet, that if you're struggling to get protein in, it's a great source of protein. However, again, shouldn't be something you rely on.
And if you're buying the wrong one, you're basically just sticking sugar in your body, aren't you? You're not sticking protein in. And it's, I know my knowledge of protein is the timing of protein. It can be detrimental or it can be a positive. And it's quite,
quite possibly. It depends. Again, depends on the person.
Depends on you, doesn't it? But the amount of people that I speak to go, I'm starting a diet, so I'm going to start on protein powder. Why?
Yeah.
No. Let's just start from the basics. Let's just have a look at your food and things like. Exactly, I mean, I'm the kind of supplements that I take. Obviously CBD, because for me, I do have my ducks in a row, and for me, it was a missing piece of the puzzle and the science behind why that works. But I'm also an advocate of vitamin D3 with K2 in the winter, not all the time, because I still think you should try and get your supplements naturally. I'm still a great believer in a B12 for me, because I'm a lady of a certain age, but I cycle it on a 12-week cycle. My biggest thing for people is when you start a supplement, you need a certain length of time for it to kick in. Don't start taking loads of supplements all at once, because how do you know which one's working? Yeah. Assess what you're doing. It's always very much assessment. Is this benefiting me? And then if you stop taking it, do you feel that the lack of that supplement not being in your system? That's my rule of thumb. And I've always said to people, CBD is not instead of, it's as well as all of those things. And a lot of my clients, it can be anything from beneficial to completely life-changing, and everything in between. But I think a lot, I mean, how many people do you know have a kitchen drawer full of, you know, of vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin everything? Yeah. And do you know what they all do? Do you interact with them? What quality have you bought? And have you just stuck £100 down the Swanee, you know? Yeah.
And it becomes just something you do as well. I think everyone's got so many pills that they chuck in their mouth before bedtime. But when was the last time that you stopped doing it and seeing if it actually made any difference?
Yeah.
That's something to think about. There's so many different supplements that you can have. And whether you say in there, like, you cycle on and off, like your B12, and you like to get your vitamin D naturally and things like that. Now, all of that straight away starts to say to me, that sounds really impressive, which it is, but that's where sneaky marketers get you, and they get you with the supplements that don't work, because they make it sound really, really fancy, and then you're like, I'm sold. That sounds like the thing that I need.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like for me, because I know my body quite well, I know when I'm due my vitamin D3. I can feel it, and I do almost refer to it as my sunshine tablet, but I'm very in tune with my body. I know when I'm due my B12, but not everybody's like me, if that makes sense. Not everybody knows, but I also know that probably I should take something else and I don't, but I'd rather fix it with food. And like you say, a lot of supplements are sold of this. I mean, I've seen them all the time, of even in CBD sellers, they'll promise you the 3 drops of this and your right arm will grow back. It don't work like that. You know, I wish it did, because I would be a millionaire. And again, it's the quality of product is incredibly important. And I know with my products, it's like, this is why I set my business, because the quality of the CBD products that are out there range from absolutely dreadful to bloody dangerous, some of them. And that's why I sourced my own, because I wasn't happy. I wanted to educate people to make sure that they're doing all these things. And this is why I like speaking to people like you, that I can refer. If somebody comes on going, they're really struggling with the diet, I won't sell other supplements. I'm an expert in what I do with CBD. I'm not an expert in everything else. This is why I like to refer to people like you and say, somebody struggling with the food and the diet, I'd like to say, right, you need to go and speak to Lee, because he's your expert. He's your expert in this field. And I'm still, I do have issues with supplement companies that start off on one thing, and next minute they're selling everything, including your training gear, your socks, your handbag, and your lipstick to go with it. You know, it's like stick in your own lane.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that specialist side of things, and something that really appealed when we met. You was very confident in what you were selling, and you was very focused as well. And you didn't say it was this magic cure. You didn't say that this does this and we can do that, or think about having this with this and all the stacks. And it was basically, you were saying, I promote this. I believe that this does this. My product is a high quality. Something I noticed as well, because I'm not a big CBD user. I've tasted them before. Your stuff actually tasted quite nice, but then the one that shocked me was the one that you said, this doesn't taste nice.
Is that the water one?
Possibly, yeah. It was a bit like bit spicy almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. Well, that's the thing, CBD shouldn't taste bad if it's been processed correctly. Excuse me. If it's processed correctly, it should taste good. And that's the difference between it's having it processed correctly and having a decent quality. It's the same with any kind of supplement. If it's not been processed correctly, you can buy. The analogy to me, even with food, it's like fish fingers. You can buy fish fingers. You can buy a whole array, from the scrapings off the floor to an actual piece of fish, and everything in between. And supplements are exactly like that. And this is why I set my own company, because I thought if I put anything to my name, it has to be the top of the range one. And even as I'm just noticing you drinking a black coffee there, I mean, I love coffee. Coffee is the perfect pre-workout. I mean, why would you not have something so natural with antioxidants in it? It's I still believe Mother Nature gave us everything that we need. It's just that we've lost the art of tapping into it. It's back to that quick fix thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And what's sexy about just have a black coffee, or have this, I don't know, amazing
luminous pink
pre-workout
drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, take this 3 spoonfuls.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was talking to my husband about beta-alanine and how I said, have you been preloading? Have you loaded it up, or have you just gone straight in with 45 scoops and now your face is on fire? And he went, yeah, I've just gone in with the 45 scoops and my face is on fire. I was like, right, this is the education that you need to know about with beta-alanine. And he is a marketer's dream. Even down to I take certain electrolytes, but again, I have to be very, very careful, because I found one that's an all natural plant-based product. But I've gone through the mill on them. And actually, sometimes you might as well just have a glass of water with a little bit of salt and lemon in it. It's the old, I've lost 45 kilos because I've drank lemon water. Well, what have you drank? You've just drank water, haven't you? That tastes of lemon,
No, there's a time for the highly marketed stuff and the fancy stuff. There's always time for that, but it shouldn't be the thing that you rely on. And as much as people can be suckers for things, quite a funny story is I fully believed when I was younger. I say younger, when I was like 18, before I did my degree. I fully believed that the reason why I couldn't lose weight was because I was eating bananas and having carbonated drinks. Fully believed that. I was convinced. So cut all the carbonated drinks out and cut bananas out. Started seeing some results, but what I actually was doing is I was training a little bit more. I was making a few more choices. I then started to take some fat burners, which I was fully into. Like, I thought these are the thing. So I did it. I took the picture at the start to do my before picture, and then I got in really good shape taking these burners. Now, looking back and knowing what I know now, a lot of the ingredients that were in there were just simple stuff. Like, you have your caffeine in it, you have like green tea extract, and I think there was taurine and stuff like that.
You're off your nut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was taking these things 3 times a day. Like, I was
Wow,
having
which
one
is
in the
no good for
morning.
your hormones. And your
Well,
adrenals will be out the chute, wouldn't they?
Well, one thing that it was good for that did really get me the results was there was 3 points in the day: breakfast, lunch, and mid-afternoon, where I was realigning myself with my goals to say, you need to train hard, you need to make positive choices around your food, you need to stay active, you need to stay hydrated, you need to go and train really well. So it wasn't actually the fat burners at all. It was the fact that I was just more focused. I was more mindful about my choices. And the one thing they did do was they just realigned myself. Now, I'm not saying fat burners will do that for you. Mindfulness will do that for you. Taking the right decisions, realigning yourself with your goals, being clear on what you want, and making the right decisions consistently is the thing that got me the results,
And
not this magic thing that got
yeah.
marketed to me.
Well, that's the kind of thing that you're helping your clients with, as well as with that mindset and the accountability. I think accountability is massive. And
Yes, yeah.
if you haven't got somebody near you that you can do that, or yourself, I always think having a coach, I think a coach is the best accountability, whether that's a business coach, a fitness coach, a food coach. Having somebody that you are accountable to is massive. It's huge.
Yeah.
And not Facebook, because Facebook's fake, isn't it? We all know that. We know the reality Facebook against, as you know, it's like, I always laugh because mine is all these girls doing yoga on the beach, and there's me looking like a swamp donkey when I'm doing the OCR racing. I keep it, pretty real, but we all want to put on the show, don't we? But having a coach where you can get down raw with and say, I have had a really bad week because this isn't happening, rather than going down that downward spoke, you're there to help go, right, let's refocus, let's get you back on track, look at the good choices you've made and this. And I think that's why it's so important to have a coach in whatever aspect of your life that you need.
Precisely. Yeah, I have people that I talk to that are considered my coaches, and people that I'm their coach, and it's always the same process in that, what have you done that's positive? What can we learn from it? How can we move forwards with it? And if I was on my own, my head would be thinking all sorts, like I've ruined something, or I can't do this, or it's going to be really hard to get back to it. But really, just someone that's totally objective, that doesn't have that emotion involved, that hasn't got the same goals as you, but can just redirect your ship back into the right path is exactly what you want. Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I've had, I do my obstacle racing, and I had a real mental block with one of the obstacles I used to do before COVID, which was you get to the top of the bay frame cargo, and it's pretty high. You get to the top and you do a roly-poly over it, and because you get down a lot quicker. And my nerves had gone because I'd not done obstacles for however long. And every time I got to the top, I basically not doing it. I just climbed over it like an old lady and wasted loads of time. And my coach just went, just do it. What's the worst going to happen? You tumble a bit. So I remember at the top, I was running this week, and I got to the top, I thought, it's now or never. Did it. I was on such a high. And when I told my coach, he's like, see, I told you. He was reinforcing that positive thing. Now I know it's rolling over a cargo now and not making daily life choices, but it's reframing that positive mindset all the time.
Yeah, and in the same way that just because you've had that conversation and saying you're going to do something, you've gone and done it. And when you've done it, you've gone and had that conversation that you have done it, and then you've been reinforced that it's the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. So coaches are so important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of my guys said that they've just been away on holiday. They felt really rubbish. They didn't get in the pool with the sun because they didn't want to take the top off.
Oh, bless.
So I had the first session back. They told me, they was very open and honest with me. And the first step that we said we'd do was to get a good session in the bag. We did that. By the end of the session, we just made one promise, and that was going to make the overnight oats that they used to make. And I said, right, all I want you to do is take a picture. I don't care how they look. Yeah. Just take me a picture of the overnight oats that you make. Last night, I got a picture, some overnight oats. And straight away there, it's something we can celebrate. We've got a win in the bag. Yeah. And then I know now, today, they've started on a high because they've done it. Past person has done it for themselves. Yeah.
Set the day up as you mean to go on, isn't it? Perfect.
Exactly. Yeah.
So can you give us a couple of top tips that we can give to people who may be needing that push and change. What would be one of the top tips that you would give?
Oh,
Caught you on the spot now, haven't I?
yes. First one that's a little bit confusing, but it makes a little bit more sense later on, is there's no right answer, which kind of doesn't really sound like a tip, but it means that you can't really get it right, which you can't really get it wrong. So just starting, being a bit more mindful about your choices is the first step, and the first step's always the biggest. The second one, again, like, I'd love to sell you something fancy, but find out where you're currently at. Like, do some sort of journaling, a food diary, how you're feeling. Just get a baseline and start moving from your baseline. Don't try and start a diet. Make your diet work for you.
That's brilliant. That's a really good tip, that, because I think so many times people are shoehorned into going down a route that actually doesn't really suit them or their family or their lifestyle, does it?
Exactly, yeah.
So Lee, how can we find you? I'm obviously going to put all your socials in the blurb afterwards, but where can we find you if some of our clients want to come to you?
So either Leen Newtrition, spelled horrifically wrong, but based on my name, you'll have to look in the captions for how to spell it. Both on Instagram and on Facebook, or I have a free Facebook group that you can join where we do like some accountability stuff. You have a calendar that you fill in, and that's called Team Leen.
Amazing. We'll drop all the links in the chat, and you know, it's been an absolute joy to chat to you, and thank you for offering all that. Highly recommend Lee. He's clearly knowledgeable in what he does, and he will really help you on your fitness journey. Lee, I've really appreciated taking some time out of your busy schedule to come and chat to us and the group on Leaf Organics. Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll catch up with you soon. Have a look at the blurb and you'll be able to get Lee's details. Thank you for joining in.
Thanks, guys.